This is the Refuge Project.
Welcome to the Jufro podcast.
Oh, you're out of control.
Let's start over. He apologized last week and then just took it all back.
Y'all bring the worst out of me.
You definitely give us your worst. That's for sure. I'll take.
I'm just joking. So the reason I say that is because right before the podcast started, we asked, James looked up, is Jufro offensive?
Oh,
right?
no, I just looked up.
And so what does it say? Is this an offensive term?
Well, it says, what is the politically correct term for afro hair?
Okay.
And it says kinky hair, also known as afro-textured hair, human textured, prevalent in the indigenous populations of many regions with hot climates. So,
yeah, but that's afro. What about Jew?
What is a Jufro hairstyle?
Is Jufro offensive, right? And I'm pretty sure it is.
It's
even though that
you want me to look that up?
Even though that we started the whole podcast.
I already told you it's not. We already went over.
It said semi-offensive or something like that, right?
Jufro offensive. A suggestion said kosher. Is Jufro kosher?
No, I don't think it's kosher.
I guess there's people that eat hair.
Offensive.
Oh, have you watched some of those strange addictions?
Yeah, I saw this one while James was pulling that out.
It says Jufro is not inherently an anti-Semitic term. Everyone I know who has a Jufro thinks of it as a normal thing to call it. Oh, that's what it says, right?
Except the Jews.
Google said everyone I know.
Yeah.
Well, it was a quote from somebody.
It's the whole, I'm not racist. I have one black friend.
Yeah. Reddit is the term Jufro offensive? No, but someone who isn't Jewish or black describing it themselves as looking Jewish or black for comedic effect is tacky and kind of immature.
That's our podcast.
Welcome to the Refuge Project. We are tacky and immature.
That explains.
But to answer the question, it says no.
Welcome to the Refuge Project. We are tacky and immature.
That's funny. Hey, but that was from 7 years ago, so it's basically not even relevant.
Oh, shoot. That's pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Not even relevant, dude.
All right, man. It's official. It's official. We've had some, pretty wild podcasts since Pastor Caesar's come back.
I don't think there's been anything that crazy.
But, I was thinking, it's official.
What's official?
I'm getting old.
Oh, yeah, no, it's beneficial.
No. It's official. Man,
what happened?
I'm only on worship music only. I don't listen to any, and then I like.
But you still listen to hip hop though, right?
No,
like Christian hip hop.
No,
good
worship. And you know how to get excited about?
What? Let's hear it.
Michael W. Smith.
Lubies.
No, I get excited about going to the first service. Listen to the blue and maroon hymnal songs.
Yeah, buddy. We all get. Hey, Tara gets excited about that too, and she's not old.
But she, some of this is her first experiences and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
That makes you old at our church. And
so I tried to help you out a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I'm finally admitting it to it.
Hey,
I'm a year away from 50.
The road to recovery starts with acceptance. I don't think there's really any recovery from this, though, for you.
No recovery.
I think you just fallen further down.
Either no hair or gray hair.
You got both.
You got some dirty orange mustache.
Yeah, they're hanging in
you
there.
Got it.
It just looks like I haven't took a bath.
It looks like somebody burned your regular mustache. I've never noticed how much of a different color your mustache is compared to how white and just clear your eyebrows are.
It's very odd.
You almost have no eyebrows because you can't see them.
Oh, they're like blonde.
Yeah, they're super blonde. But then your mustache.
The crazy thing is
you have a Jufro.
you got
that would be crazy.
A Jew stash.
My beard and mustache is the only red hair that I've ever had. Isn't that wild?
So the rest was
like
blonde?
dirty blonde.
Huh.
And then in the sun, there was like a tint of red. Like maybe you could see it every once in a while.
That makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I feel like this is no longer a safe place.
No, we're only talking about my face.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like Winnie the Pooh. You ever notice that he just walks around with no pants?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, why'd you even put the shirt on, dude? Why'd you do that? What? Nobody else is even wearing clothes.
But in like culture, the culture is totally opposite, right? Guys could walk around with shorts and no shirt. He's just like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. Winnie the Pooh is a straight up G.
Yeah.
He does what he wants. He eats his honey. He ain't worried about a thing. I like Winnie the Pooh.
You know what I found out, speaking of people not wearing clothes? That prom weekend was also swinger weekend on Crystal Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And I had my kids down
Coincidence? I think.
I had my kids just cruising.
Yep.
What you doing, son?
My brother-in-law said, so how was it? He goes,
Just Winnie the Pooh.
He goes, they were a bunch of old people. I said, that's like par for the course. You never see it like, oh, yeah, she was super fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's some like 80-year-old woman just freeing herself.
Yeah, but what is an old person to an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old?
Me.
Oh, for sure. You're an old person to most people, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, old is like collecting Social Security. I mean, I didn't think that when I was y'all's age.
Y'all's age. I was preaching to the youth a while back ago, and I told them my age, 36, and they said, "Man, you're almost dead." Like right just from the background. I said, "Oh my goodness."
Is that what you are, 36?
Right now.
So I still got 10 plus years on you. How old are you?
10
I'm
plus.
32.
Got 15.
Dude, I'm a little baby over here at 30.
I got kids your age.
Yeah, you do. That's right. That was my first introduction to you.
Yep.
I think was you're my friend's stepdad.
Old dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
And now you're the Winnie the Pooh of.
Dude, I just realized.
No, I'm not that guy.
I just realized I'm
wear
kind of
pants.
Winnie the Pooh because when I get up in the morning, I just put on a hoodie because it's a little chilly in the house, and I don't wear any pants for the first until I'm getting dressed to leave.
Nope.
I got on my underwear,
Okay.
so I'm not fully there, but it's just underwear and a jacket.
I remember those days, no kids.
Yeah, dude. No pants, no problem. Walking around, getting my coffee.
I'm
doing
still
my
the guy
thing.
that comes out. No, of course, I have all boys, right? So I just come out of the bathroom just wet, you know? And then my kids are like, ah! I'm like, my room. Don't like it.
That's true, yeah.
This ain't Crystal Beach, Dad.
It ain't swingers week.
Yeah.
Just Caesar like that. What? David, I like when you get that smile on your face, David, when you don't even know what to say. You just give a big smile
but what he's
and-
thinking is, oh man,
He's
Sandra's
thinking
gonna
all
listen to
sorts of
this.
stuff. I like it.
My son listens. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah. He's a smart kid.
He mentions it every week.
He's a good dude. Shout out.
Shout out. Hey, speaking of people that listen, we're up about 20% in listeners.
Ayo.
So I'm going to give this shout out to David.
Applause.
Probably not Pastor Caesar.
Nah, it ain't-
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have hit the check. We should shout out.
Actually, we need to look at the demographics of that because if it's like the 60 and older, the Blue Chew episode, that's the one.
He's like, I'm taking credit for that.
That's the one. That was you.
No, I was going to shout
Got
out
that promo
Mark
code.
for always calling out the episodes that didn't go up all the way. That would have. We had a couple that kept cutting off. I think it was this old SD card that we were using. We got a new one now, so we shouldn't have that problem anymore.
Yeah, we're straight now.
Yeah. This one says it's got 66 plus hours of available of storage.
So I always like looking back and see what because, after we record these things, and we apologize if you come up to us and start talking about the podcast and we're looking at you like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Because we talk so much, we don't sometimes even remember what we say, right? And then you come up and talk to us and they're like, no. And we're like, what are you talking about? And you don't even people don't even preface it as on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
They talk to us which is great because it makes us feel like we're one big family and that's all good. So
if you start off with the inside joke and I don't know the context, it's going to take me a second to catch up.
Yeah,
I think Chevel's the worst at that one. He just texts me something I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah, everybody does it.
I get there, but
yeah, we finally get there. But so just to say that, like after we record, James takes it and he uploads it, and I always like looking back at what he names some of these podcasts.
Oh. What did I name them?
Well, San Antonio's breakfast tacos are really okay.
Well, that was what we talked about for a lot of the
right, or potentially murderous pastor.
Oh, is that what I call it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good title. Well, that was what we talked about.
Yeah.
These all add up. These are good titles.
And this one got a lot of feedback, and that's kind of where I was going. And, Pastor mentioned it, and people come up to me and go, "Are y'all really sponsored by?" Because the way it looks on the title of, like, if you go to like Apple podcast or whatever, it says sponsored by Blue Chew.
That was the title,
and that's the name of it. But it looks like the whole thing is like sponsored by Blue Chew.
That's nice.
Yeah, so
I like that.
I had a lot of. Are y'all really? Like,
yeah, dude.
I wish.
Dude, we're at the big time.
I'm the old guy,
now,
you know.
We are in the big leagues. Pulling sponsors. Come on.
Yeah, so yeah,
it's not true though. We are no sponsors.
No, I don't think we can get a sponsor.
We could.
We could.
We're open. Go ahead, prove us wrong, somebody.
Yeah, right. What would we do with the money?
Well, it depends on how much. We probably have just enough to pay for the monthly subscription to Podbean, so we could just keep doing it for free.
Well, that's a start.
Yeah, that's a start. Just get us back to neutral instead of in the red.
That would help.
But I get angry whenever I see these social media influencers and they're benefiting off of somebody else's art, like lip singing or just doing some dumb dance, and they get $5,000 a month for uploading videos.
Oh yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
I am
good for them
because I didn't find it first.
Yeah. I'm not mad at it, man. If you can go take these corporate snobs' money, I'm like, go get it. Like in baseball too. Oh, I can't believe he signed a $500 million contract. Well, guess where that money was going? If he didn't sign it, to the owner. And this billionaire is getting more billions. So as long as they're going to have it, and I know at the end of the day that we're paying for it when we go to the ballparks and stuff, but I mean, I ain't mad at you. If you can get it, go get it.
When people complain about professional athletes making so much money, I'm like, well, like we're all spending. You know how much money that's bringing in. Like, who should get the money?
Yeah.
Like, who do you think should get it?
Yeah, and they're their careers are 10 years, so they have to make all the money they can make in 10 years. Most of them is 5. So, and a lot of those guys. There was this guy on YouTube that he was like a career-long, minor league player. And he kind of tells the stories. And he said when he was like in single A, so coming up, there's like single A, double A, triple A, and then the majors. He said when they were in single A, they were like driving in school buses.
Oh, yeah, there's no money.
Eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Because who's going to the single A games?
Yeah,
it's not bringing in a bunch of money.
Not me.
But if you're a professional team and you're selling 20, 30,000 tickets to a game, like all and then you're selling jerseys and everything, who should get the money?
Well, that was the big thing in college, right? They just had that new rule where the college, all these years that the colleges were taking the money off the name of the student making all the money, and now these college athletes are making millions off of their namesake. So I think that's cool too. Yeah,
it's like if people are making money, which they are, then who should get the money?
Yeah,
it should be the people
making the money.
That are the people who are showing up for it. It should be the person with the name on the jersey. Like they should be making most of that money, right?
Isn't that a weird concept?
What? That people should make money?
Yeah, that there's people even in this free world, like this free United States, that don't think that.
I think you should make. If people are coming to the thing to see me, I should make most of the money. Of course, there's a production staff and all these other people that are working that are part of the thing. They should make money too. But if
there's a whole side of the aisle that says, "Just give me all the money, and I will,
disperse it accordingly.
Accordingly.
Yeah, they always do a good job with that. Whoever does that, yeah, it always works.
Yeah. So, what do they call that? I keep wanting to say communism, but that's not what it is.
Socialism?
Not socialism.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, the government says, "Give me all the money.
I'm
talking
about the other side. The other side is
capitalism.
Capitalism. Yeah.
You're pro capitalism.
I am. Work hard and get paid.
I'm pro it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's some issues with it, but
yeah,
haven't
come up with a better system yet, though. I don't think
there hasn't been.
It's worked. Capitalism makes entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
you take that away, and then these people that are creative and wanting to make new things and express their ideas and different things. That's what keeps that creativity moving. Once you take that away, you'll see America fall. Because people are not going to want to work for other people.
Yeah, there's no incentive to be great. Because you're not going to make the money. You're not going to get the,
So what do you think about, like, the government giving everybody $1,000? What do they call that? Everybody $1,000 a month?
The stimulus check?
No, it's not a stimulus.
No. It's universal basic income.
There you go. Universal basic income. Where everybody gets $1,000. And the thought process of it is, if we give everybody $1,000, then you're free from, paying your bills type pressure, and then it'll make you more entrepreneur because you have some of the basic needs taken care of.
The issue is they're giving away money that belongs to us. The U.S. government does not make money, right? They're not they don't bring in a profit. They don't sell things. They use our taxes and distribute those taxes that our children's children are already paying for,
which is communism.
Yeah.
Socialism.
Yes, exactly. But this whole concept of giving away money that doesn't belong to us, or for from the government's point of view, it's like, well, it's irresponsible. It's not going to, and like David brought it up earlier, the whole stimulus package during the whole COVID thing, it was meant to be a Kickstarter to the economy during a recession and during a worldwide pandemic. But here's the thing: you give people that are not financially wise, which is most people. You give them a certain set of money to do certain things, and what are they going to do it? What are they going to do with it? They're going to go buy some rims. They're going to go buy the things that they don't need. I've seen.
Well, that's what they were counting on.
Yeah,
they were counting on you for you to put that back in the economy, right?
Yep.
It's just fat my savings account.
Yeah, but made in China stuff. It should have been made in America things.
That would be like the thing, like when you get like your government assistance every month or whatever, you can't buy cigarettes and alcohol with it.
Oh yeah, like
they should have made it like only
buy America,
buy American stuff with it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't even buy half a TV though.
Well, yeah, because all the components come from everywhere
right?
else. But
you're just like a screen.
But like services and those kind of things, it's you keep it in house.
They could do it like kind of like they do with food stamps, where it's like you can buy your groceries with it. You could probably do something like that, where it's like you could spend it at the grocery store, you could spend it on utilities, on mortgage payments, that kind of stuff.
How are they going to monitor all of that?
They can't.
It wouldn't be able to be $1. It would have to be something like a food stamp.
No, there's no oversight, and that's the whole thing with government, right?
But also, like, the other side of that is, so like the point you were making was like, we shouldn't give them this money because they're going to be irresponsible. We should hold on to it and make those decisions for them. But the individual part of me is like, well, who's the government to like say what I should be able to do?
And my position is they shouldn't be the one that has that has it, right? It's like why can you decide that you're going to spend my money that way?
Yeah,
it's like why not just why don't I just pay less taxes?
Yeah,
and that's how I can keep my money.
Yeah, see, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, it's all messed up, and then then you have like how are we going to fix places like Detroit and Chicago and all those things? Oh, it takes money. It takes billions of dollars, and then we spend billions of dollars overseas fighting somebody else's ghettos.
That nobody's actually support. Like, it's like the Ukraine stuff. It's like how many people want to send a ton of money to Ukraine? Like, if you just took a poll in the United States, it's not everybody.
Oh, yeah,
it's not 30%.
It's not even most people.
Yeah.
This is the crazy thing about all of it. Is it's like most government employees are opted out of all those things. Like, yeah, you don't have to do this, but we're going to make everybody else do it. You know, and that's when you know, just follow the dollar, right?
Yep.
When you follow the dollar and then you see certain people groups not having to do it, then you know there's benefit for them. You know,
You can always follow the money.
always follow the money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. We're
The sponsorships. Who should make the money? What would we even do with it? That's how we got here.
yeah. I don't know.
I'm in favor of less taxes. That's what I got from this conversation.
Less taxes.
I'm always in
Less
favor.
I'm in favor of less government, and that would create less taxes.
Yeah. I'm always in favor of that.
But,
But you want to have, you know, we have like the most powerful military in the world, like all that kind of stuff. Like you want to have that security. You want to live in a nation that's not vulnerable from other nations. You know, so you need a certain amount of government for that.
the government's like this. Have you ever lived in a neighborhood that has an HOA and that doesn't have an HOA?
Oh yeah, dude.
Right? And then you complain, oh, yeah, these HOA, they make me mow my grass and they make me,
yeah.
you know, ask about what color I can paint my house.
Yeah.
And then you go to a neighbor that don't have HOA and they got
looks.
cars in the driveways with no wheels on
yeah,
them
man.
and, you know, no grass and your property value's going down. And then you would just like, man, I wish we had an HOA to clean these people up. No. So it's always, there's a balance.
Which is
know?
funny. So would you rather live in a HOA neighborhood or no HOA?
I live in the no HOA neighborhood.
I live.
Is
in
that what you
HOA.
prefer though, or is that just kind of how it happens?
I prefer it because I can run my business out of my house.
There you go. See, I like the no HOA as well.
But
There's different levels of no HOA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
As far as like the type, like the quality of neighborhood you're living in.
Yeah. It all matters on the community around you.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So I live in a
It's
neighborhood.
better for y'all to say it because I didn't want to sound like I didn't want to sound like the stuck.
Everybody already knows.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have an HOA where you live. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's because we live in the county. You know, it's it used to be the country before everything grew up.
He
around
probably is the HOA.
Yeah.
I am the
it. Hey, shout out to my son because he says he's going to run for the Cove community mayor.
Oh, really, Adam?
Yeah? No, Luke.
Oh,
Yeah.
do it, Luke. Let's.
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
go. I need a.
I don't know if he knows what he's talking about, but he said he's going to run on. He's the people's champ.
What's his? He got any policies, or he's
Nah,
just
you know,
no,
yeah.
The legal eagle.
Don't worry, Luke. You don't need any policies. You can do
Yeah.
it on charm and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's like, who is the mayor anyways? We don't even know who this
Yeah,
guy
that's all right.
is.
Just talk trash about him. Find out who he is, and
like, "Oh,
tell
want some
the
dirt up
people
on
why
him?"
he's horrible.
Yeah.
You should vote for you.
Let's listen to him. He's
here's
got
your
a
pitch,
juice
dude.
row.
Here's your pitch, bro. Yeah. Diversity.
He's good with money.
Yeah.
I say you're good, son, until they find you're half brown.
Make Beaumont great again. Mont Bellevue, I mean.
Also with a name like Luke Hatley, just
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
name.
yes, it has such a nice
I would
ring to
vote
it.
for him.
Yeah.
Right now.
That would look good on a big whiteboard with big letters, you know?
Luke,
Yeah,
do
Luke.
it.
Yeah.
Do it.
So, we'll see.
How old
I
you got to
can
be?
picture it.
Probably 21, I would think. Yeah. I mean, I would think you would have to have some kind of sense. You know what I mean? Not that
Oh,
Luke
he
doesn't have
has it.
sense, but
You'd think so, but I
mean,
I wouldn't count on
an
it.
18-year-old, that's pretty tough to put in
I'd put him.
control of the whole city. I mean,
It's all right. He's got a few years.
there's only
to-
2,000 of us, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'd put him in the White House. He'd do a better job than what's going on right
Oh
now.
yeah.
well, he's alive.
Oh, hey, oh. There we go.
Oh man, we're going after government today.
Whoa.
We're going after.
Sponsorship is revoked. No more Blue Chew.
Hey, if Dana White can get all the sponsors and he says whatever, hey, did you see Dana White throw Peloton out of his gym?
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
I
Did
didn't
y'all see that?
No.
So he was on some comedian.
He was on Theo Von's
Vaughn's podcast, and he had one of the kids.
Theo Von had RFK Jr. on at some point, and a bunch of his sponsors were like, "Hey, you can't have him on your show, or we're pulling our sponsor," and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and so he was telling Dana White that.
And Dana White was like, "Who?
Yeah.
Tell me who. Don't be scared. Tell me who." And he was just like, "Okay."
I think it was Peloton.
Peloton. And then he goes, he told his guy that was don't we have Pelotons at the gym? He goes, throw them all in the dumpster today.
We're throwing them out.
We're throwing them out. Like, and he threw all the Peloton stuff out of his gym in the UFC center.
Yeah, and on that podcast, he's like, "Who's in charge of Peloton? Pull him up." And they like Google the owner. They're like, "This guy right here." I wish I could remember his name because they kept saying it over and over. They're like, "You think he's going to tell you what you can and can't say? Who you can have on? Who is this guy?" So he said, "We're taking all the Pelotons out." And
you think I'm joking? No, we're doing it. Call him right now. Call him right now. And I was just like, okay.
I like that. But I like people like that. Whether you agree with their point of view or not, I like people that are like, this is what I think. You've crossed these principles I have in my head, so I'm going to stand by that, and I'm going to go hard with it.
Hey, and
so I like that.
Then he backdoored it like 2 weeks later and then signed Bud Light. After everybody was going off of Bud Light because of all the trans stuff, he goes in and sits down with the guy, and he was just like, look, one of my people made a mistake. You know, we pulled it down, but this is what we're really about. We're really about, veterans and all this stuff. And he says that, they align more with America than
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah. So he signed with Bud Light. So, I mean, he's like, look, I go to the source. Whatever the source is, like, we all have people working for us, and people make mistakes and different things like that. So he signed, and of course, I don't know. It could have been a $500 million contract too that made his decisions. But I don't see Dana White like just taking it for the money.
No. He's a guy. He's going to do what he wants.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with what he's doing or not. I like that he said, he's like, this is what I think. This is what
he lets his athletes speak their mind and say whatever they want to say. Sometimes,
but he does that based off of like his principle that he shouldn't be telling them what to say, and so he doesn't tell them.
Yeah,
so,
and then he brings Trump out of all of his.
He's like, whatever, dude.
He's
like, I like him, whatever.
Yeah, the second fight, him and Kid Rock are coming down together. I'm just like Kid Rock and like Trump. I don't like.
It's so funny. I love it. It's so funny, dude.
Perez, do you have a Peloton at home? You look like you have a Peloton. at home.
You do look like a Peloton guy. What do you got?
I
have a gym membership.
Okay.
Have you been on a Peloton?
No, but the commercial from Hulu pops on like every time we see it, so we have the commercial like memorized.
Okay,
dude, I would if I worked out. Okay, don't get no crazy.
That's why I said Perez, not just his
I would need that person yell at me, go fat boy, get up, you can do it again.
Move.
Yeah, move, 3 more. That's the guy I need. Or I'd be like, after the second push up, this is too much.
I wonder if they have a dial that's like get more and more offensive as it goes. It's like,
I like that.
Come on, chubby.
See, that would only... Unless it's the most offensive thing, it's just annoying to me. So if it's just like some generic person who's just like, come on, we're going to push harder. Give it all. That's just, I'm like, hey, shut up. Leave me alone. It's super annoying. But if it was somebody I actually knew that was like just talking like personal trash just for me, then it would be funny. And it would actually push me.
If somebody needs to call Peloton and tell them, hey, make like a subscription to personalize like David Hatley's.
Yeah.
You'd have to send him a photo and like all this way too much info about yourself.
But first you have to get rid of their dorky president. Hey, but there was
I'm gonna look it up right now, see how much their stock went down after that. I'm gonna Google it.
I'm sure it did.
They need to get Dana White to do the offensive.
Yeah. So there was a map. It wasn't MapQuest. It was one of those map things that you could change the voice on it, and the ones like John Wayne, like, at your next stop, turn right or whatever. But there was like this offensive truck driver also that if you like made the wrong turn, you stupidly blippity turn around, the next turn around. It was funny, man. But I think that we all need those like different. You change them to whatever what you need. Like if you keep getting called stupid because you can't follow a map. Maybe you need it.
But being in the in the role that you are in, have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, thank you for giving us the hard truth"?
Yeah,
right.
But that same message, other people are going, "I can't believe you went that far."
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. But it's always those people that come back, and it's just like whenever people that play in organized sports and stuff, the best coaches that they've ever had in their life were the ones that pushed them and told them the hard truth.
Yeah,
right. And I think that's what we need back. We need that infused in our culture again in every aspect. At work, we don't need these soft DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion programs. We just need a boss that's going to say you're lazy and you're going to get fired.
Yeah, well, that's the way it used to be, right? I mean, you used to go in the office and there's cigarette smoke everywhere, and
at church,
and yeah, probably too, church too. There's that one pastor that smoked cigars the whole time he was on air.
It might have been Baptist. I don't know.
But you go there and they were offending women and smoking cigarettes and yelling at you because you sucked and all those. So I mean, I don't know if that's where you want to go. But
there has to be like a fine line. Too much of one thing,
it's too
because that was the too far of one thing. Now we are where we're at now, so we really just need.
Do y'all remember going to a restaurant and like
cigarette
smoking or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pancho's Mexican
crazy?
buffet.
A couple years ago, pre-COVID, skillets. That was fancy. and the smoking indoors thing was already passed, but yet you had them old schoolers that were still there.
They just reserved those 2 booths in the back for them.
And you walk in and you smell it. You smell it, the ash.
It was always so stupid though, because lots of times I'd be, the smoke. It's not like there was a wall in between the smoking and non-smoking. Yeah. It would just be like that side of the room was smoking.
Yeah.
So you'd be sitting like in the middle of the room,
right? If in the busy times you got set right next to a table, but it was like right on the other side of that line.
That table is smoking, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I looked it up. It looks like their stock dropped about 20%.
Oh wow!
Can you imagine the voice having a voice that moves the stock market?
But apparently their stocks had been dropping anyway, because they were going way high during COVID stuff because everybody was doing stuff at home.
Yeah.
And then people are kind of coming out of that, so their stocks were going down anyway. But I'm sure that didn't.
Their stuff's expensive.
Anyway. It's way too
$12,000 or I don't know how much
it's
it
not
is.
12, but it's a couple. It's like 2,000.
Just go get liposuction.
It's like 2,000 and then plus a monthly membership.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
I need a personal trainer. Somebody would come drag me.
You need somebody to personally talk trash to you.
Yeah, and stretch. You know what I really want? A personal stretcher.
Yeah.
Somebody that would stretch me out every day.
That would actually be nice.
Oh, right. Yeah. Every time I go to the Astros game.
I'm with him on this one, yeah.
Every time
y'all make your faces. Stretch us out, dude. We need to get loose.
Every time I go to the Astros game and those guys are being stretched by those trainers and stuff, I just want to. Yes.
I watched this thing about Shaun White the other day, and it had all these scenes with his personal whatever. And
the snowboarder?
Yeah. It was shown because, it was just like he was doing some. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. But yeah, he had the person stretching him out, and I thought, man, that would be nice because they're just like really getting him.
I like seeing those videos online whenever somebody's getting cracked in a certain way.
Oh, man. You like those? No, those kind of weird me out.
Well, it's because I know I need like something up here, but I don't want to go because
he like pictures himself being that guy. He's like, oh yeah,
I need to go again. I haven't been in a while. The chiropractor guy that I went to, the last time I went to him, it was right before I went to Hawaii, so a few months ago, whenever that was, and he started talking all this trash about Hawaii, and but he was like dead serious about it, and so the last couple times I've gone to him, he's just like kind of talking bad about things, and it's a real bummer for me. And then he's like got to get on you, like grab you, and it's real weird. So I don't know. I kind of don't want to go back.
Kind of ruins your experience because you're going there to relieve the tension, and then he's just putting all that tension on.
I went there, and he's trying to small talk with me. What you doing, and what's going on with you? And I said, about to go to Hawaii this week, so I thought I'd come by, get adjusted, make sure I'm feeling good. And he's like, oh, Hawaii, sorry to hear that. And I kind of laughed because I thought he was joking, because obviously, who wouldn't want to go to Hawaii?
Yeah.
And then he's not smiling, and I said, oh, he's serious. And then he starts going on this whole thing about...
He must have his heart broken.
Yeah, well, he starts going on this whole thing about how
hot and spicy's at the McDonald's in Hawaii.
I'm still angry about that.
Yeah, no, just talking trash about everything. He's like, oh, and the locals hate you, this and that. And basically what I got from it, because then he tells me the story about how he rented this, like, Mercedes van, because he goes with a couple other couples, so there's like 6 or 7 of them, and they're all, late 40s, early, like, they're these grown adults, right? And he rents some, like, fancy van, and then he parked somewhere by the beach that he wasn't supposed to park. But in his head, it was just real quick because his wife or somebody had rented a scooter and they were in the wrong spot, so he had to park there to get them. It was something weird like that. But so he's in this fancy schmancy van. He parks where he's not supposed to park. And some local dude comes by, and I think he said they, like, flipped him off or something. And so then he's, like, yelling at this local guy. And I was like, well, of course he did. Like, you were... And if you've seen this guy, he's, like, this big, like, brute of a guy. He's always got a nice watch on. So you see that guy in Hawaii.
Probably has a Peloton.
In this, like, like $80,000 van. You know, like, he just rented it, but, like, it's this really expensive, nice-looking van, parked where he's not supposed to park. Like, of course you're going to go, you're getting the vibe, like, this guy just does what he wants, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, of course they didn't like you. And so that was basically why he was like, I don't like Hawaii, was because he had a bad experience because he did something wrong, essentially.
Yeah. Sounds like you have a bone to pick.
Well, he kept, a bone to
Hey, so speaking of, have all of y'all been to chiropractors before?
No, I haven't.
So, does it work?
It helps. Dude, this is the thing. Anybody that tells you it doesn't work, they can go on all these reasons. They can list all these reasons why it's not legit. And they're not wrong. But also, like when they say it's not like a real medical profession, it's not proven and this and that, and they're not really moving your bones. They're just kind of popping this. Like they can go on all these lists, and it's true. They're not incorrect about it. But also, I've been to the chiropractor, and I've gone where I was like, I couldn't stand up straight when I went in there, and then I walked out normal after I went. So, I don't know. Do with it whatever you want, but it's helped me many times. So.
Hey, I love watching this stuff. I'm a crack addict, you know. I love watching this stuff on YouTube. There's a guy that does the UFC guys.
Did you say a crack addict?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like listening to crack.
He's a...
But I hear all the stuff that it's just a big foe, but I want to go try it out.
So you've never been? I thought you went.
No, I want a ringer dinger.
I don't know what that is.
Y'all ain't heard of the ringer dinger?
No.
Is that whenever you just wear a shirt like Winnie the Pooh?
And what do you do?
No, it's when they
spin you around.
It's when they put that thing. It's when they put that thing on your head, and then they pull your head. Basically, try to pull your head off the.
I never had that. When I go, the dude I lay on a table. Oh my gosh! You should see the gestures that Caesar is making right now.
This is your referees project. What was it?
Sponsored by Blue Chew.
No. We're
Tacky and
Immature.
Oh yeah. No, I've done. He'll grab your neck and he'll just basically like turn your head real quick, then turn to the other side. Get you. Oh, David is YouTubing Ringer Dinger.
Put the parent filter on that thing.
Yeah, dude, come on.
We're gonna have to change the rating of this podcast.
What? I don't have nothing.
Okay, look at all these people's faces on the screen.
So turn it down. Make sure it's not on there.
Okay, I'll turn you really down. Let's see.
This guy's in Houston, and he calls us the ringer dinger.
Oh, this is his signature move. That's why I haven't.
Yeah,
we're probably.
They have a towel wrapped around this guy's neck.
And
He's
then
laying
they
on
got
the
these
table.
things in his hips, so his hips can't move, so that his hips can't slide up.
Okay, and let's see it. Oh my gosh!
Man.
So he yanked his head like away from his shoulders up. Jeez.
And it's supposed to go all the way down to the last vertebrae. Where
I get it. So he's like decompressing your spine with it.
That looks dangerous.
Hey, the scary part about it is they always check your knees for like reflexes afterwards. Okay,
I know, that's why I said that does not look safe.
Does it still work? Okay, you can
play
still
that video again in slow motion. Like you see that dude's neck extend like 6 inches.
But
bro.
I mean, a lot of people's like crying but it's almost like a joyful cry and different things like that. So I watched
that seems way more extreme.
A surgeon that talks at whatever the surgeon is on bones or whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm not very smart. But he was just like, listen, they're not going to pull your head off. Like it's not as dangerous as it looks.
Well, I'm not worried that he's going to pull it off, but I am worried that he might.
No, but they
leave you crippled.
No, they do like
tear something.
They do like quadriplegics. And it's supposed to really help. Like
they didn't cause the quad.
No, it's supposed to help because I guess in quadriplegics there's like, even though you can't feel, there's like tingling and different things that it helps like some of that.
I will say this: I've heard like physical therapy people. They tell me that the chiropractor go into it generally you do feel a little better afterwards, but it's kind of one of those things where once you do it, you kind of have to keep doing it, as in like, so if you're experiencing a pain and then you go to the chiropractor and it kind of helps get rid of the pain, now if you want to get rid of that pain, like you got to go more and more often, and then it's more and more often, and more and more often.
Well, I know when my back really hurts, I'll have Noah get on it and like jump, and then it'll pop or whatever. And there's like a relief.
Yeah.
It's temporary, but it's definitely a relief.
Yeah.
But I think it's more, there's a guy that does the UFC fighters, and it's a combination between popping and muscle work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key right there.
You got to loosen up those
getting
muscles.
the muscles, loose where the bones can be where they're supposed to be. And
well, if you go to the chiropractor, a lot of times they'll, I don't know what all the machines are called, but they'll like massage you down a little bit to make sure you're loose and all. Because if you're too tight, they won't do it because you'll end up just hurting yourself.
Right.
No, I'm too ticklish for all that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Caesar laying on the table. Stop it.
Do y'all do massages?
I went one time. We did a couples massage.
And he laughed the whole time.
My
Like,
wife
"Stop
was
it."
like,
Oh.
never again. Because it's just like, you're over there.
So you were tickling. Though.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so funny.
and I'm all tensed up because, it's like, I thought this was supposed to be relaxing.
Like you were like making her time like.
Yeah, miserable.
I was the worst customer.
There is nothing better than an hour and a half massage.
Nothing better, y'all. You heard it here.
There's nothing. I mean, there's one thing better.
Marriage is not
only
better.
one, so
Having
it's-
kids is not better.
Man, between family, I'm talking about like a physical,
Please say more.
a physical activity type thing outside of family.
Eating.
Nah, I would skip a meal in a minute to go get a massage.
No pasta.
Well, hey, no, that's a good
Quiet
deal.
in the neighborhood.
That's a good deal. How much does a meal cost? How much does a massage cost? That's a good deal. That's a good.
I
bargain.
go to Beaumont. If you go to Beaumont, there's a Chinese deal there.
Yep. Right.
They do in the middle of the mall deal where you sit in those chairs or whatever.
Get that massage in the middle of the mall.
Middle of the mall. Good. Accountability.
But they have a room in the back.
hey.
If you want to pay a little extra.
It's legit. It has a sign and everything. You can walk
What
up.
they all say.
But dude, there's this.
What was that rush hour line? Little Mushu?
Hey, there's this Chinese lady in there. Oh my gosh, she will work you out, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the best things.
Nice.
I used to go to
All
only.
about that release, huh?
Oh man.
I used to go to Only Men's. We're gonna keep moving on that
Ringer
one.
dinger.
I used to go to Only Men because men was like the only ones that were strong enough to get through some of my issues.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah.
I can't.
He said only men were strong enough to get through my issues.
Please tell us more about
I like
these
the way he
men's
said
issues.
that, dude. Only
No comment.
only
No
a man
comment.
can satisfy my issues. I need a strong man to satisfy my issues. And he does have issues.
It's time for Culture Corn.
I'll jump right in.
I got.
There we go. Here we go.
Culture Corner.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, man,
Work you out like Peloton.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Who's got them Culture Corner? Do you got
Oh,
one?
you had it. I mean, I can do one.
Yeah, go ahead. We're going to talk about yours in the main topic. We got a couple different pastor issues going on
Okay.
here today.
So you want to talk about Silence in the Name of Jesus, or you want to talk about the other one where Homeboy almost got capped?
We're gonna hold on both of those until after the Culture Corner.
You want me to do this?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I'll do this one. Here's the title. You ready? 71-year-old egg collecting addict sentenced in England after stealing thousands of wild bird eggs.
Okay.
So this one's kind of about animals, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
So how do you feel
England.
about
Wait,
that?
hey,
Birds.
this goes back to like a abortion. Is it a baby or is it not a baby?
Is that what this is about? He's stealing eggs.
So it would be.
So here's the guy.
It
You
would
ready?
be an animal.
Well, this is why it's
unborn
a
animal.
problem, because it's like all these endangered birds, like protected species, and he's out there stealing eggs. People are like, hey, what are you...
Hey, what are you doing with these eggs?
We need-
He's just like breakfast.
No, he's not. He's not eating them. He's not selling them. He just likes taking eggs.
Do they rot?
I wish they got into those details in this article. They don't.
All right, go ahead. We'll wait on you.
Anyway, a Norfolk man has been sentenced for illegally collecting nearly 3,000 wild bird eggs. By the way, this is the third time this has happened to this guy. So this guy's 71 years old. Says he was handed a suspended jail term and order to undergo a 12-month mental health treatment program after he was caught on wildlife cameras stealing 2 nightjar eggs. Nightjar is a type of bird from a nature reserve in June 2023. When police searched his home, they discovered that he had been storing thousands of eggs at the property. So this dude got arrested in 2005 and 2019, and he just got sentenced again.
Where's this at?
This is in England.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It says in total, the dude amassed a collection of 2,995 eggs, of which 2,429 were protected by UK's Wildlife and Countryside Act. Yeah, dude. So he's out here just stealing eggs.
So they're sending him to a mental hospital.
They sent him to one in 2019, or I don't think they sent him to a hospital. We had to take some program for 12 months.
This is like hoarders, where you go to these houses and then people are feeding the rats.
Yeah, basically. But he's just got eggs everywhere, and he's putting them in jars, and he's labeling them. So he had this.
So he's like preserving the eggs.
He's just got them, in jars and stuff. The attorney he had is the same one that he had back in the day, in here, and the defense was that he's got this addiction, he's mentally unstable,
for sure,
all this stuff. The lawyer was like, he's not making any money off of this. He likes stealing eggs. He can't help it.
It's a
hobby. He's got to steal the eggs, and it worked enough to where the judge was like, all right, we'll make him take a class or something. But now he's stealing eggs again. So he's back at it.
This is no joke, not trying to be funny, but I have a what do you call it these days? I have a cousin that is mentally challenged.
He's got them colored.
Those are nice eggs, though.
And he goes around collecting on trash day.
Uh-huh. He's got them color coordinated and everything.
Yeah,
see?
that's nice.
He's got the
It's
green
very
ones.
organized.
Yeah, make a good picture.
It is kind of
that'll make a good picture on somebody's kitchen wall.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
anyway.
He's mentally challenged, and on trash day, he goes collects all the whole neighborhood's trash and brings it back to his house.
And what does he do with it?
He wants to keep it. I told you my cousin's mentally challenged.
Yeah.
This is a true story.
Okay.
So I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Well, it's true. So they just sentenced him. It didn't really say what the sentence was going to be. I don't think it did anyway.
They should sentence them to live in the Everglades for 12 months or something.
No, but they're really upset because again, he's stealing all these endangered species, protected things.
Yeah, you could wipe out
and
a whole
he's just
species.
and he's taking thousands of eggs from these people. So they're like, "Hey, dude, you're destroying. You can't. Come on."
I think they should make a job for him for finding all those eggs.
Whoa.
Right, put him in a lab where he can
Look at this.
to where he
hatch
could
them and
find
stuff.
to where he could find the eggs, bring it back,
this
because if
inclusive
they're
solution.
endangered, then
Yeah. Give him a job.
Are you running for mayor?
Hey, listen. This it kind of goes back to my cousin. When my cousin was doing all this, I told my uncle, I said, teach him how to find scrap metal and cans and stuff, right? So what he likes to do is go collect all this stuff, show him how to collect something that's of value, and then turn it in, and he can make some money off of it.
Can make $8.75 a day.
Hey, when you're mentally challenged, you don't have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
be
Give him something to do.
Yeah,
And he loves it. And that's what they taught him. They taught him to go scrap metal.
That's what we need to teach these U.S. government employees.
Just go pick up cans.
Go pick up cans.
We got this. You don't have to
You
worry.
want to give $1,000? Go make $1,000.
There we go. There we go.
Bird brains.
Anyway, it just in the article it just
Hashtag.
says he's been convicted. It doesn't say what he's been sentenced of yet. So we'll see.
That's just so difficult, though. For real. What do you do with those kind of personalities and people that they are, habitual offenders of the same thing?
Especially if they're actually mentally handicapped in one way or another.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've seen. I'm sure we've all seen documentaries or stuff where somebody, like maybe they go kill somebody or they go do something crazy, and then the defense is like, well, they're crazy, so that's why you gotta be soft on them. And most of the time, that's just like a BS excuse, But sometimes it's actually true. Like, they really are crazy, and that's why they did this crazy thing. But then it's like, what do you do? Because, especially if it was like they murdered somebody or something, it's like you can't just have them. You can't just hit them on the wrist, be like, "Hey, don't murder again. I know you're handy." Like, you gotta do something.
Yeah, but that's
also,
where it's a case by case thing.
But also,
too.
like, if you send them to jail or something, like, what's that? That's not gonna help anything.
So though, I just watched this. Maybe it was on Netflix or something, but it was this 12-year-old little redheaded nerdy kid, and he killed this little 5-year-old boy, and he ended up spending like almost 30 years in prison.
Why did he kill him?
Because he was bullied, and then I think he finally was just like
the 5-year-old made fun of him, and then he just killed him.
I think it was almost like everybody else is bullying me, so I'm gonna bully this little kid, and then it went bad. Maybe
so he was bullying the 5-year-old.
He was being bullied at school
by other people. So when this little 5-year-old boy was walking down the street, I think that maybe he probably. So the 5-year-old boy didn't do anything to him.
No, he was just walking to the baseball park, and then nobody really knows because he says that he doesn't really remember. But he's ended up spending 30 years in prison at 12. And but what do you do?
Yeah. You can't just have him killing people.
Right. But was it does a 12-year-old need to be in jail for 30 years?
What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's tough because, do
you put him in a mental place instead?
Well, back in the day, we were talking about back in the day earlier, like you had a kid that wasn't quite there, then you would just ship him off to an institution and then you would just keep him, you keep him put up and nobody would ever see him.
So many great success stories from those places.
We don't want to do those because at the end of the day, man, this is God's son and daughter, and it doesn't matter their, their mental abilities or whatever it may be. I don't know, man. It was heartbreaking to me knowing this 12-year-old little boy that was bullied and he maybe snapped because of the way he was being treated, that he was up for parole after 8 years. And they kept denying him and denying him and denying him because he kept saying that he was rehabilitated. And the one thing that they kept saying is he kept saying over and over at every time he would come up for parole, I can be in out there with all the normal people. And they kept saying, well, what do you mean? Like, you're not normal? And he was just like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But you say all the normal people are out there and I'm not normal, Yeah. So they kept using that against him until 30 years in. I don't know, man. I think that for sure, and this is a whole different topic, and we can talk about it a different time. Maybe we'll bring somebody that knows anything about it. But the American penal system is broke.
Oh yeah.
It's become a profit. For profit,
profit centers.
Yeah, and they're now that they are privately owned and different things like that. So I don't know. Anyways, before we get off into something that's really negative, I got a song for y'all today. Forrest Frankie, Low Key.
Frankie is just Frank.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All my people know that I was never good at acting. Every time my eyes are shut, I can't help but imagine me and all my friends weaving in and out of traffic. Every move we make will tip the planet off its axis. You can hear the passion dripping through the melody. If you love it, let it go. But every little blessing finds its way right back to me. So I spread it with my folk. Hey, I be playing shows in Ibiza, chef it up like Aisha. So for the moment, I'm keeping it on the low like a freezer, so I can send it up to heaven for the 7th time today. 'Cause thunder happens even though it doesn't rain. That's why I'ma keep it low key, low key. Posted with the ones that know me, know me. I wake up and greet the sun, keep on shining till I'm done. So I'm never really lonely, lonely. That's why I'ma keep it low key, low key. Posted with with the ones that know me, know me. I wake up and greet the sun, keep on shining till I'm done, so I'm never really lonely. Oh, you could find me in the summertime sunshine, feeling so free, sitting by the ocean, toes in the sea, riding with the top down, hands in the breeze, living in the moment, that's how it's supposed to be. You can't throw shade on me, I'm a child of the light. Put me in the dark and I'ma shine twice as bright. I've been blowing up, but you won't find me in the sky. Cause you know what they say about pride, that's why I'm gonna keep it low-key. Low-key, posted with the ones that know me, know me. I wake up and greet the sun, keep on shining till I'm done.
I'm gonna keep it low-key.
Oh, get it.
I found this guy because he's
pretty big right now.
yeah, he's popping off. I found him because I seen him on Lecrae, but he's doing a lot of songs. He's taking some like really old songs and kind of doing this.
He did a whole album of that.
Yeah, right.
I forget what it's called, but he just took a bunch of old hymns and then put a beat on it, like and
Right,
did it.
right.
But I mean, it's cool.
You
You like it?
know, this song here, it's kind of a trend that I've been noticing lately where I wouldn't put that in either category. It seems like we only have two categories in modern day CCM music, right? You got praise and worship. You got the stuff that's faster. You got the stuff that is slower. And there is this big push from the Christian community where people would say, well, that's neither praise or worship, so we shouldn't have it. We shouldn't be listening to it anyway. And I think that there should be a new genre in all of that. It's almost like leisure listening, encouraging, where yes, it talks about the Lord, but a lot of the stuff that you hear, it is me-centered, how I'm feeling, where I'm at, and then how I'm encountered. And again, praise and worship should all be directed to the Lord, right? It's not talking about me, it's talking about Him.
Yeah.
But this is not in that camp, and I think where people get a lot of ire in this conversation is whenever they feel like this should be categorized, this kind of music should be categorized in one of those two camps, and I don't think it falls in those two.
No, I don't, and I think that I was just talking about earlier that I'm just listening to worship music because I'm finding myself just wanting to have. In this season right now, I'm probably just in a season, but just me and God, just a back and forth with just me and Him. So the worship music kind of really fits that a little bit better. But listen, man, we were on the forefront of Christian hip hop, So I get it. I like feel good music. Like there's nothing wrong with having feel good music, and I'd rather let you listen to something like this than like a Kendrick or something like that. That's kind of like almost like faith based, but still he's got a lot of like earthly tones to it. So I think there's room for all of this stuff. I think that there has to be growth in everything that we do. So, but all of us are not created to make worship music. I think there's that white dude that's here in Houston that does a lot of school stuff. Can't remember his name, but he does a lot of this poppy stuff, and it's good. It's good. Like you're not going to go in school and go, man, like Jesus is awesome. Go listen to, Bethel. They're going to look at you and go, yeah, what are you talking about? But if you take them and you try to let them listen to, something like this or something that's more poppy or a hip hop or something like that.
It's like a nice segue if we're going down that path. It's like, oh, he's a Christian that makes music, right? And I think that's kind of what this is. Like, oh, I want more of that, and that might lead into the praise or the worship thing. And that was, I'm sure you remember, but like a long time ago, I was at the gym and I had a text and I was like, hey, what's something like I could just listen to? So he sent me something and I heard it and it was great, and it led me to like a different path that was kind of different from like the two main categories, praise and worship.
And then with like young adults right now, that's I think where a lot of them are. That's how they are finding Jesus. It's in their feelings, if that makes any sense, right? Where and they're not. Let me just say they've been they've been groomed by their culture to express their feelings as if their feelings are the most valid, expression. The that it's my truth. Statements like that.
Yeah.
Right? There's only one truth. But anyway, you know what they mean.
That's interesting, and this one's not about Luke, but one of my sons, I find myself saying this over and over again lately. It's just something lately. I'm like, express your feelings in your words, not with your emotions. Because that's what this generation is doing. They let their emotions take over, and that's how they feel. And because they're sad today, that means they're depressed. You know what I mean? So that just takes over their life. But if you just come to me and like say, hey man, I feel like that's not fair. Me and you can have that conversation instead of now your emotions are taking over. We can't get nothing done with emotions.
But somebody told them that those two things are synonymous.
Yeah.
That your emotions and your words are the same thing, right? And that's one of the biggest breakdowns in communication that we can have, because now everything is an emotional response,
right,
rather than a logical. You're coming to a conversation with logical presuppositions, right? This is why I am the way that I am, not why I feel this way. But this, like what James was saying earlier, people that are able to articulate the principles that are foundational to them,
and that's why Joe Rogan has the biggest podcast in the world, because it doesn't matter who he has in their left, right, center, whatever. That a conversation can be had. If you agree with it or not, there's a back and forth, and we haven't seen this in the political arena since before the whole Trump era and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it started a little bit before that too, really with Obama and different things, that there can't be two people that sit down and just talk out differences.
Yeah, everything is highly polarized now.
Yeah,
that
and you're hurting my
that.
feelings, and not only you're hurting my feelings, but now we have to we're tribal people by heart, right? By nature. And so now it's like, if you offend me, you offended me and all of these millions of people.
Yeah, don't talk about my mama.
Yeah. So instead of going, man, I'm not Republican. I don't think Jesus was Republican or Democrat.
No, both sides will be angry at him.
Yeah,
he was part of the Green Party, but continue.
I think he's more complicated than that, and I think all of us have to be more complicated than just picking a side and then like everything that they say is that's what it is. And I get called a lot of times. I get called a Democrat because I'm not, a Trump backer. Now would I vote for Trump? Probably, but you ain't giving me anything better to vote for.
Yeah.
Not Sean McDonald, the other rapper McDonald.
Tom
McDonald says, listen, if you give me a cat crap sandwich, a dog crap sandwich, and a bird crap sandwich, and you told me to pick one, all you gave me was crap to pick from. So like, don't blame it on me when all you gave me was crap. Mm-hmm.
That's why we need Luke Hatley out there.
That's right. Come on, Luke.
Get out there, boy. I've been having a lot of people at my work lately come up to me and they say, because you're right, like people these days, they have a lot of trouble separating the way you act from the way you feel, and they have trouble like getting their head around the concept of I'm acting this way even though I feel this way because these actions are better. And I've had a lot of people like at work lately been coming up to me because I work with a bunch of young kids now, work with a bunch of 18-years-olds.
Who's the old one?
That's me, dude. I'm the old man, and I love being the old man, dude. It's so much better.
It's not bad.
It's the best, dude. But anyway, they'll say something to me like, man, I can't imagine you ever being mad. That would be crazy. I can't imagine. You're just so nice all the time or this and that. And I'm like, well, you don't know me at all. Everything infuriates me, dude. I say, you have no idea how I am. Said, I don't act like that all the time because I know that's a bad way to act. But yeah, I feel these things. I had a manager tell me the other day, she's a newer manager, and I think we were like running short people or something. So she put me in like an extra big section on a busy night. It was something like that. And she was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you be in the weeds, so I'm sure you'll be able to handle it, which that's a restaurant term, which basically just means like, you're behind, you've got too much to do, you've got like 5 tables that all need something and you that's like being in the weeds, right? And she says something like that, like, I don't think I've ever seen you be in the weeds. So, and I said, well, then I've tricked you, because I definitely have gotten behind lots of times. But usually in the restaurant world, if you're a server and you get in the weeds, you're running fast, you're all stressed out, and
slamming trays.
Yeah, somebody bumps you, you're upset. You're like, hey, look where you're going, call your corners, and it's like that's like this hyper intense, stressed out, angry thing because they're in the weeds.
Because that catches you up.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. So like for me, I was just like, I've tricked you. I just, I've gotten behind because stuff happens, and you get triple sat with 3 tables, and you're going to be behind for a little bit, whatever. I just choose to act a certain way because I know that those other actions don't help, and they just make you feel worse. There's no reason to stress out or whatever. But yeah, I've had lots of people lately just being like, oh, I can't imagine you doing this. And I'm just like, well, you are very wrong, just because I choose to act a different way than how I feel most of the time.
I had my mentor tell me I came in with a bad attitude one day, and it was just like, in a production business, Caesar, it says it's always hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. In production, you never get ahead. There's always an order that's behind. There's always a truck sitting at the dock waiting to get loaded. And I came in with a bad attitude because I was there until 9 o'clock the night before trying to get these trucks out the door. And, of course, you had to be there by 6 o'clock in the morning, and because you're going to start the day behind. And, there's people waiting already when you get there. And I just had a bad attitude. And he told me, listen, you choose every day. You chose to have a bad attitude. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Life is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And, I make that choice every single morning. I choose to get up with a good attitude. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And that's how I live my life. I choose. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going to get upset and I'm not going to pop off when Sandra upsets me or when the kids upset me.
But you're not going to pop off every time you get upset.
Right. I'm not, because I choose. I choose to be joyful. I choose to live this life that God has given me, So, and I think that our generation, this generation has done that. My generation has failed the generation after us, the generations after us, because my generation became the helicopter parent generation where we wanted to be your friend and everything is going to be okay. Tell me how you feel.
Y'all caved in.
Yeah, we caved in.
Well, I think it's because before it was like nobody cares about your feelings. It was like way too hard in the other direction. Like,
it was because I said so.
Suck it up.
Suck it up. Boys don't cry.
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
Because I said so, yeah.
Because I said so. And at times...
There's a time for that.
It's a time for it.
There's a time for you to talk about your feelings, too.
Yeah. And there's a time for, because I said so, because we got to get things done. Like this is not a 1 or 2 person family, 2-person family. This is a thing that we're all doing together, and somebody has to lead the charge, right? But there's also time to sit down afterwards and go, hey man, I seen that you were struggling while we were doing that. What's going on in your life? Yeah. But that takes effort. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It takes effort to keep the everything moving forward, but at the same time making sure the little duck in the back is staying up with you. So, and what we find out, most people don't want to put the effort in, and that's why you see broken homes.
Yeah, as people of God, we have to control our vessel, right? We have to make sure that what we speak and what we say is Christ-like in all that we say and do. And even though we might feel contrary, and I pulled up the scripture because that's what we're talking about, right? 2 Corinthians 10, for though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ, and be ready to punish every disobedience when your obedience is complete. I think that's what we failed as a society. The church has always existed, or should have always existed, to be the moral compass of a nation. And the church is a collective of the families that come into that place, right? So everybody has a personal responsibility to allow God to lead them. A church will be effective only when the families in that church know their word, and they're able to cast down these vain imaginations, able to parent and tell these kids, tell their kids, tell themselves, hey, whenever you feel this way, understand that we have to run that through a God filter first, because that's not how we're supposed to act. And people are going crazy. They're just acting on impulse. They're reacting. It's not rational what they do, but their rationale, their justification behind why they do what they do is because they don't feel appreciated. Why do men cheat, right? I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel respected. I don't feel loved. I don't feel like you want me anymore. I don't feel, right? And it's like, so your feelings are what moved you. Or whatever. Why do we make quick impulses in our jobs, right? Or I just don't feel like I'm valued anymore. Hey, if a man don't, I already tell my kid this. He's 5 years old. And I say, son, a man don't work. And then he responds, a man don't eat.
A man don't eat.
That's good.
It's like your feelings. What do your feelings matter and all that? Whenever you got a family, provide, and that's not just financial and material, but also the immaterial. A man has to be able to articulate how a man should feel to his son that is growing up in the house. This is how a man is going to process emotion. Yeah, because men have emotions.
Yeah, but you can lean too hard in that direction, though, because if you lean too hard into the suck it up, we got to pay the bills mode, you can definitely find yourself in this job that makes you miserable, that you've been at for years, and you're just there like, well, I got to pay the bills. So that's when you got to find that balance of, I'm also interested in these things. These things make me feel like I'm interested. They make me feel valued. I'm passionate about these things, and figure out a way to kind of do it. But if you go too hard on that side, you find yourself broke. You're like, well, I don't know, man. Nobody wants to buy my drawings. Yeah. It's like, you've got to, there's a balance for everything.
And that side, it's like, well, that's how you teach them how not to be a debtor, right? People can't leave their jobs because they are indebted to that job, because they have so many bills. They can't break out of it because now they force themselves into a slavery. Yeah. And now they could never get out. So it's like, I'm mad at my job, but you're mad at your job for your bad planning, for you not being a good steward, for you making terrible decisions that have gotten you where you are. So don't put it back on God and say, well, I'm doing it just because I'm providing for my family. Yeah, you got to do it now at this point because of the terrible decisions that you've personally made. Yep. Right? And don't put it on God that you're a slave to the man. Yeah. You did that yourself. That's a forced slavery.
Because you wanted that car. And
that's why it's important to read your word, because everything that you just said, that's where
it's
that
the word.
It's the word. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's not Dave Ramsey. Come on, guys.
No.
Well, see, Dave Ramsey's always.
I mean, Dave Ramsey says it, but he didn't come up with it.
He's always quoting
the
debtor is the slave to the, or I got it wrong. The lender is slave to the borrower.
That's right.
No. The borrower is slave to the lender. Yeah. Man, I'm sounding like David in here. In all my words and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good segue into the main topic today.
Okay.
Right.
So before we get there, let's look at this, because we've been talking about emotion and
wellness,
and words or whatever. So the first clip we're going to look at is this is Perry Noble, okay, and this is one of his sermons.
P. Nobes.
Who's Perry Noble?
Perry Noble is a mega church pastor.
Wait, what does his shirt say?
It says Psalms 23.
Nice.
Which is a super dope shirt, by the way. Yeah. I think we need to have more of these shirts around here where it says Elam Church on them. But anyways, all right.
You got the card, man.
All right.
Yeah, so, associate pastor. What are you talking about? I said, I wish around here they would.
I mean, we just need creative people to come up with this stuff. Like, he has somebody in the church that said, hey, let's do this.
Stop making excuses. Play the clip.
All right, you got Nicky's number.
All right, let's go.
What if we took the message of the gospel that seriously? Because here's reality. There are people outside these walls today in Anderson, South Carolina, and in Greenville, talk about that next week, but in Anderson, that if they died today, they would go to hell. And there are some people in this room.
All right, so this is like a message that we would all preach, right? Uh-huh. Everything's good.
Yes.
All right, so this is where I tell you, like, if you're listening to this in your car with your kids and all that, hide your kids, hide your wife, just for a second, because we're going to get in the next part of this clip.
And this is a sermon, correct?
This is a sermon on a Sunday.
Okay.
All right, so we're just going to.
You've been warned.
So there's people out there.
Listen to it later.
They died, they'd go to hell.
Right. So we're going to we're just back up just a second.
Okay.
Today,
I do
they
not
would go
know
to
what's
hell.
about to happen here.
And there are some people in this room that don't give a shit.
Oh, there he goes.
And then there's some people in this room more bothered by the fact that I just said the word shit than you are worried about the people that are going to hell. That's on you, sir. That's on you.
I get it. I see what he was trying to do there.
Dramatic effect.
So my thing is, did it slip out?
And then he tried to fix it.
Tried to fix it. And that's his language behind the scenes and off the stage, and it just came out on the stage? Or was he just trying to say...
That's how it felt whenever...
Or is he just trying to say, listen, y'all, a lot of y'all are worried about the wrong thing.
I think he was trying to make a point.
Yeah.
I don't think he was trying to cover anything up.
That's the wrong point.
No, yeah. I agree. I think there's better ways to do what he just did, but for whatever reason, he felt like that was right.
Yeah, that's that shock and awe factor that sometimes
that's the doing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of goes back to the last week, and Pastor Caesar, I wish she was here because we talked about John Paul, the one that his wife committed suicide and all. I'm sure you've seen that stuff go around. But you know, before he got with her, he had 4 kids by another wife, and he groomed this young girl since she was 10 years old. Allegedly, and all the things. And this is why pastors, after going through certain things, are no longer, should no longer be behind the pulpit.
Fit to serve,
right? Well, we have guys like Perry Noble, which I've always enjoyed Perry Noble's preaching. Like, he's a good preacher, a very good communicator. But this is his second chance at it. His first chance got involved in alcohol, made some bad choices in some other areas of the church, which it never came out. But then now you have him back in the mega church using foul language on the stage. And we've just been talking about, using the right, expressing your feelings the right way, using the right words, and all those different things. And then we have pastors like this that is becoming more and more common. And I don't know if it's just that the internet's getting bigger and the world's getting smaller that we're seeing these things. We just had the church up in Dallas somewhere during COVID that told all of his congregation that, this world is filled with a bunch of P words. Because of COVID and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And listen, man, I know that you're a big bad pastor and all of that, and you're trying to pull off the tough guy, whatever. But some things, and listen, this is coming from the guy that walks the line.
Oh yeah,
and I get it. I do.
This is from the prop preacher himself.
The prop preacher, the ones that bring secular music and different things in to produce points and things, and maybe I'm out of line. But this is out of my line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, this is a big departure from Oompa Loompas.
But as a pastor, you're called to be held to a higher standard. You're not perfect. Nobody is, right? But I like that he lowers the standard when he does that in front of on a Sunday morning, especially a big church like that, who knows how many people it's their first time going, so they hear that and they're like, oh, I think it's okay.
Let's finish this clip because it gets even, he doesn't say any more bad words, but just listen to how he follows up with this.
Some of you are like, I like this church. Anyway, I'm just saying, what would happen if we said this matters and I'm not going to show up at Second Chance next week alone. I'm bringing somebody that needs to hear.
That sounds good, too. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's just like, how about you like this so much that you bring them here so I can preach to them? Mm. Instead of you living a life where you can share the word with the people in this culture.
You're going more with culture instead of what...
He's just like, y'all need to come hear me preach.
I don't know, man.
And cuss.
He's a preacher telling the congregation to bring people to church. I don't think that's so controversial.
Yeah, but just the way he says it to me is
the delivery.
The delivery instead of saying, "Hey, listen, we all have a job to do. When we're in our jobs and our schools, man, we have to live this lifestyle out and let our life live it and then bring them to church through that, But like more than just. I just feel like the whole thing is a little self-centered to me.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
It was just, whenever you're not. He's aware of it. Of course, he's aware of it, and he's a gigantic church pastor. But like we heard in that story a couple weeks ago.
And listen, this happens in 20 men church too. Let's not blame this on mega church.
Yeah, but I like what what the guy from San Antonio said to following up the bad language in church. And he said, look, if we were one-on-one, I wouldn't correct you. But because we are in a giant room and the sensitivities with children and then the tension that comes with all that, that's not what you want to do. And that's for me, just being a pulpiteer on a regular basis, that seems more like a shock and awe. I'm trying to go viral. I'm trying to say something that's going to prick your ears to accomplish my purposes. But just like David said, if you have to dip your hand in the world to start impressing people, well then, or should we really be doing that?
Well, I don't talk like this at my house, so I'm definitely not bringing my family to church to hear it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's something to take your kids to youth group and kids are cussing because that happens, right? Yeah. But to hear from your pastor, your lead pastor, man, or any of your pastors, really,
if you got kids at home,
and I would say also, like, if he's willing to do that, how much more does he do behind the scenes?
And listen, man, I've heard a lot of cussing pastors, and I don't get it, man. I just don't. Cussing Christians, period. I know we had an episode way back when, in the first 10 episodes or something, talking about cussing Christians. So I don't get it, man. We have to be more refined than that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know you're going to say, Pastor David, there ain't no scripture in there talking about, cussing. No. Listen, you're right. There's no that says thou shalt not curse. But there is scriptures that talks about
Peter going to cussing to disassociate himself with Jesus, because people that were with Jesus, one of the hallmarks was that they did not cuss. They spoke in a certain way, and then so he said, I'm going to go to cussing so nobody knows that I'm with him. Yeah.
But it's not about the word, right? It's about the meaning of the word. So you can try to curve around it and walk around all those things. You're still being part of the world. Yeah. And that's what God has called us out of.
Yeah. And whenever it's like you got a thought, go ahead.
So this shout out to me today. Thank God I'm in the ankle brace and stuff.
No boot today.
Yes.
Oh,
so whenever me and Raquel first gave our life to Christ, one of the things that I wanted to clean up was how I speak, as far as like actually cussing. And around Raquel, I wouldn't cuss a lot, but when I was at work, forget about it, right? So, forget about it. Mm-hmm. But as like God allowed for me to clean that up, and I don't cuss. So whenever this happened, for anybody that gets hurt, or whenever you bang your hand or whatever like that would, for most people, would be an opportune time to let one slip. And I was telling Raquel the other day, thank God that didn't happen, because if this happened whenever I first got saved, that wouldn't have been
at church.
Yeah, in front of the kids.
Yeah.
So that was the thought that.
And just as a parent, right? I know that, again, I have a 5-year-old at home, very impressionable, going to school for the first year this year, coming back saying a lot of things he shouldn't be saying that he doesn't hear at home, he doesn't hear at church, he doesn't hear anywhere. And then as a parent, you want to help clean up their language, let them know what's right and what's a good word, what's a bad word, what's words that require more of a mature mindset. And then it would be hard to justify, especially in our house, right? It would be hard to justify. It's like, well, my grandpa pastor.
Yeah, in your case, it would be.
Yeah, right. My grandpa pastor says it.
Papa says
Papa's saying these words from the platform.
So why can't I say it? And then what do I say?
Yeah.
Now it puts me at odds in my own house.
Yeah, especially as young Christians, because I could always remember looking up to Pastor Ron like he was Jesus. You know what I mean? Because he was the closest thing to Jesus that I knew.
So if he's doing something,
so if he's doing,
something's okay.
Yeah. And I can remember my cousin, he would put these, he was into like exotic cars. And back in the day, we had like exotic car magazines or whatever. And I always had like a chick with the with the bikini on, you know.
Can't have a picture of the car without the girl.
Right, and he would have these things on his wall, whatever, and then he would
see exotic bird eggs.
And and then my aunt would come in and he goes, yeah, that's fine. You can put on whatever you want on your wall. If Pastor Ron came in here, what he would say, you know? And he was, you know, of course, rebellious teenagers. Like, I don't care if Pastor Ron sees this, you know, but that's because he knew Pastor Ron wasn't coming to his house.
yeah.
But, you know, that's the thing. Like, who's holding us accountable if our leadership's not holding us accountable?
Yeah.
My thing is, who's holding him accountable? Who's on his board?
Yeah, hopefully his board pulled him aside and
said no more S words, no more cuss words, period. You know?
Yeah. I wouldn't go as far as to say this disqualifies him from ever touching a pulpit ever again. I wouldn't say that, but just like what you said, he needs some accountability and he needs some people. He needs to come out in the following week or whatever, whenever this was, and say, look, I apologize. I was trying to prove a point. I used some exaggerated language. I should have known better. You know, pray for discernment for me.
Yeah, apologize to the little ones in the room, the parents. Yeah.
I think I agree with the point he was trying to make. He definitely could have done it better, though. You know what I mean? And like Caesar was pointing out, the whole like if this had happened one-on-one, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But this is like you know, a preacher like from a pulpit. You know, there's a different thing. There's a time and a place for everything, and. Yeah, I agree with the point he was trying to make, but he definitely could have made that point a lot better ways without it being as big of a problem, you know?
And then for me, if I have a really radical idea like an Oompa Loompa or something like that, I always run it by Sandra. And then just like, is this too far?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if she's like,
could you give us some examples of some ideas you've ran by her that she said were too far?
I'll have to really think about it because most of the
Tune
time
in next week.
most of the time my ideas are not too far. Like an Oompa Loompa might be too far.
Have you ran it by her?
She told me absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a bad idea, but it's pretty funny.
But like for a big production thing type deal, maybe for your average Sunday, maybe not. But for Easter Sunday,
yeah. Did you explain to her? It was going to be on Easter?
No, but like Mother's Day when I used "Dear Mama" from Tupac, you know, I ran that by her. She was just like, I probably wouldn't do it, but as long as you keep it the words "Dear Mama" and don't go into the rest of it. I think that I don't know if we was talking about here. It's for me. It's just the way to get you connected. Like, okay, now you're looking at me. You're tuned in because I know so many times I get distracted in church. But if I can have just a couple of those little reset eyes back on me. You know what I mean? At youth, it's a lot easier to go, hey, everybody back on me. You know what I mean? 'Cause we do that. But you can't do that to adults. Hey, adults, hey, eyes on me. If you can hear me, clap 2 times. You know what I'm saying?
I hated that kind of stuff so much.
So I don't know. I just use it for those type of things. I have jokes inside of my messages around the time that I think people are really like maybe dozing off every 10 minutes or whatever, or a lull in the message, something just to get them back on me or whatever. So that's kind of what I use it for. And then also what did your pastor talk about? Oh man, what did he talk about? He had that he had that he had that Tupac Dear Mom. Oh yeah, it was Mother's Day and he was talking about how he's loved his mom and no. It just kind of sparks that deal again. On your thought when you said it a couple of weeks that we should be more diligent. If it was a test afterwards, we would pay more attention. And I agree. I totally agree with that. I was actually, me and Sandra were actually talking about that because that was, something that it convicted me because I do find myself sometimes looking at my calendar for the next day. Okay, this is what I got to get ready for tomorrow or whatever. So it convicted me a little bit, and I appreciate that. But the reality is, if Pastor David's doing it, A lot of people are doing it. You know what I mean? Not saying that I'm better than everybody else, but I'm just saying as a pastor.
You've been a Christian for decades.
Yeah, and I think that point right there is a lot of it, because when I go to church, it's very rare that I hear something new. You know what I mean? It's very rare that I hear it from a different point, from a different perspective. So it's like, going and singing the same, nursery rhyme every single day. You know what I mean? So
it's different viewpoints, though, because people that are working in the ministry, especially on Sunday, for regular churchgoers, Sunday they go and they sit down, they hear the word, they absorb, they go home, they go about the rest of their day. For us that we all work in ministry, it's a work day.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's true.
It's not us where we come and sit down and we listen to the word. We're doing that throughout the week. We're getting fed in different avenues. But Sunday is very different for those that work. I texted the group the other day, and at noon, my step count for Sunday was like 6,000, 7,000 steps already in that one day.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's a different viewpoint, but
it's true.
But I remember when I first became a Christian, it all goes back, and I think the whole overarching theme of what we're talking about from beginning to end is wellness and health. If you're spiritually healthy, you're going to be spiritually hungry.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. When people are in church and you have not helped them to develop a hunger for the word, by the way that we live the actions that we show, how we keep our tongue, when we have to speak up to injustices, those kind of things, you're helping people understand what it is to have a healthy appetite for the word of God. And whenever you get this buffoonery that's going on, like Perry Noble just did, you are what is it, emaciating? Is that what it is? Right?
Sure, yeah, that'll work.
It's you're starving the people. They're there. The people that are actually there for the word, they want nourishment, but then you give them this, which is nothing but cotton candy fluff. It's gonna make them sick at the end of the day. And then we're wondering why our churches are the way that they are. Why are the level of discipleship in our church is the way that it is? Why are we producing surface level Christians? It's because we have surface level pulpits.
Yeah. So let's talk. We're gonna have to get to your other stuff next week, because what is Sunday morning for? Is Sunday morning?
It's a great thought.
Is it an outreach? Is it a discipleship? What is Sunday morning?
It depends on what on what your church has aligned that Sunday to be. I think one of the biggest, I'm gonna get myself in trouble, but I think one of the biggest injustices that the church, capital C, has done, we have made Sunday morning to be our evangelistic effort. Because, and I know for me personally, in the ministry I run, evangelism has always been the weakest for me, and I will admit that. Right, we try to do stuff here and there, but our evangelism is weak. It's malnourished. We need to grow that up. I'm on record in our leadership meetings talking about that, how we need to, bolster that. For Sunday mornings, churches, especially popular churches, more contemporary style churches, we have made Sunday morning to be our evangelistic effort. We pour the money. The budget is focused on Sunday, mostly. Right? How are we going to get them to draw them in? Now you get those, scriptures in the Bible that say, go out there to the highways and to the byways, compel them to come in. I get all that. But here's what I will put forth to all of y'all. How do you think about the church? And I've found some prevailing thoughts, some more than others. But one of the main ones, people in large masses think first and foremost that the church is a hospital. If you believe that the church function, that the primary function for the church is a hospital, I'm not going at you. Don't fight with me, but we're just talking. If you believe that the church is primarily a hospital, all you're going to do is to be tending to the sick people. And if you believe that the church is a training ground where pastors are to equip the saints for the work of the ministry, those are two big different concepts. Because one, you're bringing in the people with the expectation that they are going to grow. The other one, you are just taking care of sick people that we don't even know if they want to get well.
So the difference is triage or physical training.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And then most churches, in my experience,
Triage.
function more as triage sites.
Yeah. And I think this is a really broad question too, because the way I see it is, I think Sunday morning should be who Jesus is, a loving Jesus, but at the same time you have to teach, reap what you sow type ministry. But if you do that, if you do evangelistic type Sundays, your discipleship program better be airtight. You better have 200 small groups, that are turning people over into ministry leads, into small group leaders. If you don't, you're wasting time.
Yeah,
you're wasting kingdom finances, money, people, all the things. And that's kind of the way I see Elevation churches, and then Lakewood Church, and some of the bigger churches, only because we see them from afar, is they have an evangelistic. Well, Pastor Stephen Ferg even said, "Listen, we are an evangelistic church. That's the heart behind the ministry." And I get it, but I don't know nothing about what goes on behind the scenes. But your discipleship program, your small group program better be airtight. You better be funding money into that just as much as you're funding it into a worship service.
I remember having a conversation with our...
And just one more comment. And that's what I hear about Lakewood. Don't know anything, but I hear that their discipleship program in small groups is really well funded and well done. So
whenever I first got into Christianity, I got into this small little initiative program that they had over there with their men's group in Lakewood, and it was very well organized. It was very gospel centered, a very different facet of what you see on a Sunday morning over there. So that really changed some things in my mind about Lakewood, right? But I, to the earlier statement, I had a conversation with our senior pastor here, and I asked him, how often do you get an opportunity to pastor on a Sunday morning? And there's not a lot of opportunities for that, because we are preaching salvation, and where's the time, right? Who has the time for that?
Yeah.
There's not enough time in the calendar week to get these things done. So, is Sunday morning supposed to be primarily salvation? I think so. I don't have an issue with that. But again, going back to a biblical definition of what a church is, what a pastor is, what a pastor should be doing, a pastor should be able to pastor people, and then other people see how those people are being pastored as a lesson of what to do or not to do. But in modern day churches, again, go back to the question, right? How big is too big? What is a big church, and should there be big churches? But churches that are, back to what you said, right? You need to have smaller groups to be able to funnel these people into and get them good discipleship. But, in all that, whenever we come to church with this mindset of a triage center or a boot camp, one, you're creating warriors. The other one, you're just nursing fallen people. And is nurse them back to health and get them to where they need to go? Maybe, but both of those are necessary. I think the answer lies in between both.
Yeah,
we need to be a triage center, but also that's not why we function.
Yeah, well, the problem with the triage model is that it's a lot of resources going out. Mm-hmm. Right, you're to that, like all you go down to medical aid, and all all the resources are going that way. Triage is just sucking up everything that you have, and the other one's just producing fruit, right? So you have to really be careful, and then depending on where your church is at, it produces more one or the other.
When you put it that way, with triage, like sending people to get better and that stuff, like, shouldn't there be like the faith aspect of, yes, we're treating people to get better, but by like leading them to Christ. But at the same time, they become the warriors, and they become like the evangelistic type, and that doesn't always happen. But I would think like that's where our faith should like.
Yeah, but a lot of times, man, like history takes over faith, right? So the history of your family of being reactive to, whatever, the lack of finances, the lack of medical treatment, the lack of whatever has been holding them down for generation to generation. So for them to have faith is something that is totally new and a different, like, I have hope in all this. Like, you're gonna have to explain that to me, and then even a lot of times words can't explain to somebody that have never seen the light at the end of the tunnel. All they've known is generations of alcoholic fathers and abuse in the home and on those type of things. So when you have somebody like Jimmy Silva that has come out of that and made a transformation, that is rare. You know what I mean? Because somehow, some way that he's seen a different future. And it's really hard to, unless there's like a God thing that happened. You know what I mean? A God transformation. But you have to be willing for those things.
Yeah. Hungry. You got to be hungry.
You got to be hungry for it. But I mean, in mine, I'm not talking bad about people in the church, but my experience from pastoring here is there's a lot of people that are trained to take from whatever it is. Right, from government help, the school help, the church help, all those things, and it's almost like that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help,
and that's one of the shadow sides to the triage type. Right, is that you pander to people, and now the church is functioning in a way that all these resources now, like you said, have to be poured into these other areas to make people feel welcome, that we want you to stay here, we want you to tithe here, we want you to, and then, and then what do they say that what's that adage about the jailhouse is being run by the inmates, right, and I'm not trying to paint inmates as the church or whatever, but you understand this feeling like our direction,
a minority group is running the whole facility,
and our direction should come from God. And when we look at what God is and the promises that he gives, he came to bring us life, he came to bring us healing, he came to bring us hope. But whenever we pander to people, we get in the church can get in the way sometimes of people having their God experience because we've made it too comfortable.
Well, we seen it a couple of weeks ago when that pastor was just like, hold on, we're not just going to stuff this guy's pockets full of money and send him back out. No, that's not the way we're going to do it. And that seems like, man, I've done so much, we can't call it counseling, spiritual advising. And when I find out like, I'm just the next guy. Because you've already been to Pastor, you've already been to Pastor Caesar, you've already been to Pastor Nofo. I'm just the next guy. And we've all told you the same thing. And you're just there for somebody else to hear your story and to feel for you again.
Yeah, you don't want to change.
Yeah, it's not that it can't happen. It's just you're not doing the work. Yeah. My folk, when you sit down, we talked about this before. When you sit down in front of me, it's like a hard conversation. Like you're not wasting my time anymore.
Right.
Like we're not doing it. I'm over it unless you want it. And man, I'm seeing some people right now that want it, and good gracious, their life is being changed. Like God is actually changing their life because they're emptying out the old so God can fill with the new, and it's a beautiful thing to finally see it. It's giving me hope, and I know there's all the 99 to 1, and we should do those. We should reach out and make sure that we're not leaving nobody behind. But also the Bible talks about fertile ground. Listen, I'll give you a chance, David, and if you're not fertile, I'm gonna find somebody that's
move
fertile.
Along.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we see a lot of unhealthy practices, unhealthy things that are allowed to continue. And I feel like we always kind of come back to this topic, right? We allow the unhealthy thing to remain just because that unhealthy thing has produced some fruit.
Yeah.
And we should be concerned with the most fruit, not just some fruit. And it's hard when fruit equates to people, to lives, because you don't want anybody to be run over by the bus. You don't want anybody to be left on the wayside. And I get that's our heart, but then you're moving such a gigantic, structure that is in this church, Elam Church. Then what do you do? You're left battling, these decisions now of, like you said, going back to the one when I got the 99 over here. And I think for us, it's like, well, whenever we find those people that will go after the one, we can put them in charge of going and doing that while we focus on everything else.
Yeah. I don't know if he was in the room. I'm sorry, just real quick. I don't know if he was in the room, but we was in a room. I won't say who was there, but I'm just like, listen, man, we have to look at all of everything on all these ministries and everything that they're doing and how much money we're spending and all those things. You can't put a price on a soul. And like they couldn't believe that I would say something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But my thing was, if I have $1 million and I can reach 2, or I have $1 million and I can reach 2,000. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Let's put this money where we're going to reach the most, not because, like you said, because we reached 2 before. Let's keep doing that.
No.
And I think that's where the Warriors part comes into play. Is like the pastor, I believe, should be taking care of the 99, but there should be Warriors to where when someone comes up, they could take care of that one.
Yeah.
What y'all said reminds me of I think of the story about the where they give out the talents to the 3 different people all the time. And so what you were saying, that one of the things in that story that always sticks out to me is whenever the master guy's getting mad at the dude he only gave 1 talent to, and then he gives the talent to somebody else. I always thought he should give it to the middle guy that only got 5. Because, you had the guy that had 1, you had the guy that had 5, you had the guy that got 10. And so when he gets rid of the 1, in my head, I always thought he should give it to the guy who had 5, because that would be the most even. The other guy, he's already got 10, but he gives it to the one who had the most, because that guy's producing the most. The guy had 5, he only produced 5 more. The guy had 10, produced another 10. So if he gives the guy that had 10 1 more, it's more productive, it's more efficient. Right. It's so it's interesting. So when you talk about I'm going to spend money to save this many people, or I could save it to this many people, you'd always go to the bigger. You would always go to the bigger thing. It's just that's kind of the way that law works. Yeah,
and I think we're seeing churches, and there's more companies that are business minded, that are really trying to help churches get out of the whole old mindset of some of the things that churches always done. So they've always and some of that's good. Some of that is really good. Tradition and is good as long as it's Bible focused and on point. But just to do it because you've always done it, I think we need to recalibrate sometimes.
Yeah, and those are the hard conversations to have, because in that people have their entire Christian experience tied to what they have done. Mm-hmm. So now they equate what they do to how valuable they are to the kingdom, right? Or how valuable they are to the church. And whenever you come, or anybody comes against that mentality and says, wait a minute, we need to revamp, we need to revisit it. We want you to be the most efficient. We just don't want you to spin your wheels. We want you to be the most efficient. They don't take it like that.
Well, it's my ministry.
Yeah.
You shut down my ministry.
Yeah.
Well, we have 5 women's ministries. Let's put them all together and make one amazing one amazing.
And the thing is,
and then, but there's 4 hurt people and 4 hurt families and all those things, and everybody that's tied to those families, and we're worried about that exit,
right?
Instead of what really can happen within one big ministry.
Right. The superficiality gets in the way, pride gets in the way, because really the heart of the matter is that I want to be the leader.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's not about the wellness of the entire church, is that I want to be the one leading it.
Yeah,
and then end up with that.
Yeah, and then you end up with
then you end up with Pastor David cussing on stage.
No, Sandra would never let that happen. She'll never let
One
that
time, that would be it. Sometimes she says, "I wish I had control of your volume button." I was just like, all right, man. I think that'll wrap it up today. We're probably going 2 hours in, are we?
We're close.
Yeah,
Hour 49.
I think it's a good thing. We always need to look at fertile ground. Like when we're doing ministry, look at fertile ground. I think of people like David and Chevo, and we give Chevo a lot of hard times, but he's been fertile ground over the years. And, and then there's some that have come and gone. You know, how many? There's some leaders that come and gone and try to come back and leave again, and then you do your best with them and you try to support them. But at the end of the day, we got people like David Perez and Chevo and different people that's come around and stuck around, and it's really been fertile ground. So that's where we need to concentrate and focus.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
hey, before we go, quick plug. This Thursday, which I guess will be when this is coming out, I'm playing a show at Discovery Green.
Nice.
Not Eucalyptian. I'm playing with a friend's band, the band Vortex.
Oh, okay.
It's a free concert, Discovery Green. Thing starts at 7. There's 3 bands. The other 2 bands are these cool indie Houston bands. And then the
around
Vortex.
what time are you playing?
I don't know what time it starts for sure, but I'm playing with like the headliner. The thing's marketed from 7 to 10. There's 2, so first band starts 7. I'm sure the second will start around like 7:45, and then I'm sure.
So be there no later than 8:30 to see your boy James.
They're probably starting at 8:30. So I'm gonna make fun synthy sound effects and play percussion during their set. And then we did a collab with them. It's the band we did a collab with back in like January. So I'll go sing my verse at the end.
I'm going out of town.
If you want it's going to be a cool, fun show. It's free. It's at Discovery Green. It's going to be fun. So if you want something to do, I guess it'll be tonight when you're hearing this. If you're hearing it on Thursday, May 16th. There you go. 7 o'clock, Discovery Green. Go have
Don't
some fun.
see your boy.
Yeah, we're doing it. All right, that's it. Go ahead. Say the thing.
And we love you.
This is The Refuge Project.